just looking back at the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder ended up beating the Wolves 4 games to 1. Obviously, I didn't have the pleasure of having you and Terrence on last episode as well too. So I don't know what your predictions were, but I had OKC in 7, so I was pretty shocked. And it is what it is. SJ ended up being the Western Conference Finals MVP and racked up 31 points per game, 8 assists and 5 rebounds as well too. What were your thoughts on the conference finals, man?
My number one takeaway as one of the biggest Julius Randle haters out there is that he just turned back into a pumpkin. If we being real, like Ant did not play well, I will say that for sure. But he at least I think did enough that if he had any extra contributions, they would have won more than one game, is how I feel. But Julius Randle was out there dropping like 5 points, less than 10 points a couple of times. And I just know, all hate aside, like realistically, before the playoffs and before the season as well, I was talking about like I can't trust him in a playoff setting. Now, he did show for 2 full rounds that he can play well in the playoffs, but when it came time to like, okay, the round that matters the second most, he was just like almost like a complete no-show and a bunch of turnovers, a bunch of just bad mistakes. So, um, I wasn't surprised to see him play like that. And then once he was playing like that, I wasn't really surprised to see them get demolished. Especially because I do feel like consistency is the one thing that I feel like is separating Ant from being a true superstar, in my opinion.
Mm,
I don't think
hmm
he's there yet, in terms of being a superstar. I definitely think he's a star and like one of the young faces of the league. But like you look at Shea earlier in the playoffs, he had like a couple of bad games and then he just started stringing 30, 30, 30, 30. Like, and to me, those are just the things like if we're going to make it to the finals, our best player can't be out here dropping 15 points. And especially
hmm
when you don't have like, it's not like you have a big three, like where you have a bunch of other guys that can support you and that you can count on to get those points. So, um, yeah, it was crazy to see them going out like that. But I think with all those factors, it kind of made sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with the Julius Randle aspect. So he definitely should opt out of his contract. He's definitely gonna re-up and get some more money. So happy for him getting his money. But I agree with you in the sense of he did not come to play either above his regular season numbers or his regular season numbers. And we kind of got fooled by it a little bit, right? When you look at the Lakers, they really kind of fell off towards the end of the year, then going into the playoffs with their defensive identity. And then they didn't play any bigs as well, too. And there really wasn't anyone that can kind of match him with the lateral quickness and with the strength in the first round. In the second round, too, pretty much the same situation where you kind of avoid you kind of avoid matchups, and it was in his favor. So now seeing him get to the conference finals, that was my biggest red flag or biggest concern. I was just like, yo, how is Julius Randle going to play? And like you said with Anthony Edwards, I mean, I still think he's a superstar, but I agree with what you said. He has to be a little bit more consistent. And sometimes I hate when he kind of falls in love with the 3 point shot. And it's not even just him falling in love with the 3 point shot. He just sometimes can lack a little bit of aggression as well too. And I
Hmm.
know that they were swarming him. I know they were picking him up full court. I know they were doubling him, loading up, and
Whatever.
all that other good stuff as well too. But you still have to find a way to be effective when your team needs him the most as well too. But yeah, Randall, man, you had Hardenstein, you had Chet, you even had Caruso on him. So he got to see multiple bodies. He got to see some rim protectors. And damn near everybody on OKC can slide them puppies, as Kendrick Perkins would say as well, too. So
Hmm.
trying to go up against Jalen Williams on the perimeter, Lou Dort, like they're really matching your quickness as well, too. And his shot, he had a couple consistent 3 point nights throughout the playoffs itself, but his shooting in the conference finals was bad. His 3 point shooting, especially. And with Rudy
Hmm.
Gobert being on the floor, that's a non-shooter, with Randall not shooting the ball well too, it's so easy to kind of take Anthony Edwards low key out of the game, and they're not just going to be that efficient as well too. And I was very disappointed in Nas Reed, man. Like
bro.
six man, former six man of the year as well too. And you playing like a YN on 2K My Park,
He was
like
dropping like consistently like 5 points, 3 points, like 0 for 10, 0 for 5 from three. Like it's crazy. You know, a bunch of my friends, especially in Michigan where it's legal, do sports betting, putting in parlays and stuff. So like they'll send them to our group
yeah.
chat beforehand. And my friend sent in a group chat during the playoffs that I think it was during the conference finals that had Nas Reed on it. And I was like, why would you put any American money on Nas Reed? He has been
Hmm.
proven this whole playoffs to be awful.
Hmm.
Like you're not getting
Yeah.
it. He had one good game, I want to say, in the first round where he hit a bunch of threes. And it's like all those
Hmm.
same shots were there. I was watching all the Wolves games. All those same shots
Yeah.
were there for him every single game afterwards. He just either wasn't taking them or he wasn't making them.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was a huge disappointment.
Yeah. So that pretty much sucked. This was like the first time. I'm not sure what the outcome would have looked like. I mean, the outcome would have been different now, as far as different with wins and losses for the first team to four. This is definitely would have been a good a good matchup if Carl Anthony Towns was playing on that team. At least he stretches the floor and he could do a little bit of work in the post as well too. But we'll get to him. But yeah, got out coached. OKC's depth was just much better, and their superstars showed up. And I was very impressed with Jalen Williams as well too, because I was a little concerned with him in that Denver series, and then he picked it up like the last two games, I think. But he was pretty
Hmm.
consistent this go around, and Chet, for his second go around in the playoffs and second official year playing, being a sophomore, I was impressed by him as well too. So they deserved it, and I'm looking forward to see what they do in the NBA Finals that's coming up in a couple of days as well too. Um,
Real quick, I think this also
mhm.
shows. I feel like most basketball fans know it, but like the the playoffs is so much about like your matchups, and I think a lot of times we'll put like, oh, so and so made it to the conference finals, so that means they're a better team. Where it's like I think it's clear that Denver was the second best team in the West because
Yeah,
they played
absolutely.
them straight up to seven. I think it's also because Denver has the best player in the league right now, which I think gets
Hmm.
discounted a lot.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's like even though they lost in the second round, clearly they were a better team than the Wolves. They were just on a different side of the bracket.
I know, man. Especially in the Western Conference, being the best conference, bro. Like we
Mhm.
always be getting like matchups earlier than expected. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have loved for this to. I mean, I would love the Denver and OKC series
Yeah.
to be the conference finals, but hey, man, you just gotta. It's just a gauntlet match out there in the regular season. So you really got to stay healthy and try to set your team apart as well too. And obviously with Denver, they battle injuries all throughout the year as well too. So um, yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but I think I think with proper retooling, Minnesota can find themselves back.